Where are we going?
Why are we in the sandbasket?
We're going to space. The finalist frontiers.
Why are we?
Welcome, everybody, to Star Trek Kvasir, where our intrepid crew travels blindly through the Gamma Quadrant. Now, they've been doing a great job so far. Thank you to everybody who is tuning in tonight to check this out. Point of order, if you type exclamation point D20 in chat, it will roll a D20 using Nightbot, and I will use your roll at some point in the game. So just throwing that out there. Thank you to our intrepid crew for showing up tonight. We are just going to dive right into things. So, when last we left our crew, you all had gotten some scans done, and you were analyzing the data, and everybody had made it back to the ship. The captain has sequestered herself away. She's hiding out in her ready room, poring over the many, many reports that she's been getting, but not having time to actually read because of the complete shit show outside. So, we pick up with all of you going about your appointed duties and finding yourselves with a very surprising amount of downtime, with the captain firmly saying, "Do not bother me. We'll figure this out very soon, but right now, I just need you all to just go do something else." And so that is tonight's episode, is all of you doing something else. Now, I posted the reports of the scans in your in the Discord, so everybody had time to kind of read over that, even though it was this morning, so not a lot of time, but a little. And we are going to open it up with everybody in their respective departments doing their respective things. And we're going to open with the bridge, where Commander Jax, Lieutenant Junior Grade Amathi, and Lieutenant Sulak are all doing their thing.
So Amathi takes the captain very seriously. The moment that she says, "Do something else," Amafi's like, "Okay, captain, doing something else," and he will essentially get down to, he's the senior science officer on board. Who the hell put a cat in charge of all the science is beyond me. But we got what we have here.
Well, there's something to be said about cats and curiosity.
I know, and something about satisfaction bringing them back.
There's no satisfaction here.
Oh, no, there's tons of satisfaction, because every answer that Amathi gets just fuels him more. So Amathi's actually kind of going through the various science reports that he's currently getting from all the different aspects of the department. He's obviously, medical is part of science, but it's also separate from that. So he's not going to touch medical reports because that's not his jurisdiction, nor is it in his particular duty. He's just going to go through and see what people are currently reporting, see what current projects are going on, and all that other kind of stuff. But while he's doing that, he is going to be working on the subspace tear issue that we're currently also going to have to deal with. Amathi is kind of the full opinion at this moment in time with what he's been taught about the Prime Directive and everything else, that it is time for us to get the hell out of this system. We don't have to deal with this planet. We don't have to deal with this sun. He's pretty much of the opinion that our work here is done. We figured out what was going on. Time to leave. Sure, yeah, there's a moral issue that's going on here, but he's not... it's not so much that he's callous, it's just more along the lines of that there's so much more that we currently have to do. Like, the subspace tears are way more of a danger than what's currently going on that planet, and that's where he wants to focus himself. So he's looking at reports while doing the final calibrations to get the subspace tears ready to fix.
All right.
Lieutenant Sulak would have done the bulk of the calibrations already, because that's what he did when he went back up to the bridge. Started working on all of that. So Mathi's just putting on finishing touches, I'm sure, double checking the math, etc. From there, he's going to go over the scans, and he's also of the mind that it's time we fix the subspace tears, because that's the mess we made, and then we leave. We could potentially offer aid, and that will be the only way that we could help them without potentially appearing hostile. But we can't just fix something that might not even be a problem and make the situation worse.
That's a sound logic. Commander Jax?
I mean, ultimately, it's up to the captain whether or not we try and contact them. So we'll have to wait for her orders before we do anything, whether it's leave or call them. I am going to make sure that we have paths to the subspace tears mapped out in such a way that we can adjust the navigation and helm control to correct for any gravitational weirdness that comes from them. I will handle that myself, and that's it.
Cool. Well, the three of you sound like you are hard at work and crunching numbers. Yuck. Meanwhile, on another completely separate section of the ship, in Med Bay, we have Dr. Kvasir. And what is the good doctor up to these days?
After making her reports and doing a couple of other things, which hardly bear mentioning, K4 would be kind of assigning a couple of folks to work on verification of the gene therapy that she was given by the detainee. And then we'll be heading toward 10 aft, looking rather the worse for wear, rough and tired and maybe dizzy. Or orange juice is good for raising the blood sugar level, so. Plus, there's a requisite number of hours that she is supposed to be outside of her quarters. It's part of the reintegration process. So might as well kill two birds with one stone.
All right. I hate being out here. I like it. And last but certainly not least, down in the heart of the ship, in engineering, working very closely to the warp core, we have Commander Davin.
Davin at this point is essentially like reading through the reports and writing up basically her, hey, it looks like this is something that we may not have to fix. If we want to, we can do a page, broadband communication on blah, blah, blah. And, if they need our help, great. She emotionally is currently not feeling great about the fact that we beamed down into the ship of a species that is antagonistic towards us. So she's having a little latent anxiety, and after she's done with this, she is going to message both Amathi and Sulak and basically be like, I'm going to be playing chess and relaxing in 10 aft. I suggest that once you finish your calculations, y'all take a break too and drag Jax with you.
but not Amathi.
Wait, Amathi's not being invited anywhere? That's
Amathi got an invite.
Yes.
I know. I'm just messing.
It's Amathi's job to drag Jax with him.
Oh, no,
This
no.
will go
He
well.
said drag for the both of you to drag him.
And I'm delegating.
Uh-huh.
There it is. There's that famous word.
Why? Because he won't be able to resist the kid asking him?
Duh. He clearly doesn't like me.
I'm trying to figure out who Jax does like.
The captain.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
He likes Amathi. Amathi and Jax are best friends, right, Commander?
Yeah, I like you, Amathi. That's
Yay!
yeah. I think you're a nice kid. But what's going on? Well, working on a data pad.
We're going to be heading down to 10 Aft for a bit of R&R.
Oh, well, have fun.
You're coming with us.
I am, Lieutenant.
Please? The captain's kind of insistent that we make sure that we take regularly scheduled breaks and stuff like that so that we don't burn out.
And Commander Davin may have made mention about dragging you with us.
Wait, what? She said what? Have you seen how big he is in comparison to me? I am literally fur and bones.
Amathi, it's a Terran figure of speech.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'll be good company, but sure, I'll come down.
And with that, Kirk is going to make his way to the turbo lift and wait for the other two because his calculations have been finished.
Mm-hmm. Amathi's not bringing like any of the data pad or any work with him. He's a very serious, like when he's told that he's supposed to relax, damn it, he relaxes. So he doesn't take work with him or anything like that. He just bounds into the turbo lift and basically comes up next to Sulak. And does Sulak actually have like a data pad or work with him or something along those lines?
Oh, he absolutely does have a data pad with him. Yes.
Yeah.
He's going over security reports.
Yeah.
He kind of looks at the data pad. He's just like, Lieutenant Kirk, we're supposed to be relaxing. You can't relax if you're working.
And
Jax has his out as well.
I will relax as soon as I get to 10 Aft. But until then, I have reports to review.
Fine. 10 Aft, as he'd call out to the computer.
Now, I have a quick question for the engineer of this ship. Are there two turbo lifts that go to the bridge, or is it just the one?
Let me see the diagram.
I believe the Norway class has two turbo lifts on either side of the bridge.
Yes. It looks as such.
All right. The door closes and the three of you head off towards 10 Aft. The other turbo lift opens and Zek steps out and looks around at a completely empty bridge.
No, we would have made sure that there was a relief.
Yeah, there's always relief. They take the position.
Yeah, but not the usual people.
Yeah.
That's
An empty bridge.
Yeah, there's no empty bridge.
Interesting. I wonder where everybody of importance went. Now, well, and he plops down in the captain's chair.
Well, at least he's not where we are. But we know if the ship starts moving, you know who to blame. Yeah.
Right. Somebody's got to be to blame. Dr. K4, when you got the message to, did somebody relay the message to Dr. K4?
Oh no, this is going to be completely by happenstance.
Sweet.
Plot contrivance.
All right. So the doctor has finished up her workings for the day. What would you like to do with the rest of your evening as second shift begins showing up, ready to report for duty?
She pretty much already decided that since orange juice was on the menu anyway, she was going to 10 aft. She's got what appears to be an absolutely ancient music player in one hand and a 5-line notebook.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Collector of the Earth Odysseys. All right. You head to 10 aft. At this point, Commander Davin, Lieutenant Sulak, Lieutenant Junior Grade Amathi, and Commander Jax. You all arrive at 10 aft. The door opens, and inside you find a number of people all, going about their day, evening. It's what you would expect from a lounge. Some people have like their top just like the one button undone. There's some people that are actually like on other shifts and they're in their civilian clothes already. There's no like bartender, it's just replicators. So the four of you enter, and yeah, you're able to do what you wish.
See, you were successful. Hello, Commander Jax.
I believe my presence was requested. What's up?
We haven't had a time to mix and talk yet. It's just been work. We've all met each other at different intervals of our careers. I thought it'd be nice to hang out and get to know each other.
Okay.
Well,
If you
Besides, you've got so many great stories about the things that you've piloted and the situations you've been in.
I don't know how much of a storyteller I am, but I suppose I should be sociable. Yeah. And he sits down looking uncomfortable and constantly looking at his data pad.
Davin will go over to a tri-D chess set and basically go, Mothy, it's been a while. We should play a game in person instead of just over the communique.
Okay. He basically will kind of bound over at that point in time, and as he he'll look at the board, and then he'll immediately just kind of plop down, and he'll put like one hand underneath his chin and stroke the fur there, and he says, "You want me to go first, or do you want to go first?"
Young age before beauty.
He kind of like basically like pats his hair a little bit. He's just like, "Commander, I thought there was rules against fraternization," as he basically kind of like pets his fur a little bit.
Interestingly enough, most of them don't care as long as you're not going up the chain of command, so to speak.
Oh,
Phrasing?
oh, yeah.
Said the commander to the lieutenant junior.
Why is it that in my mind, when Amathi was talking about how, playing in person instead of over communique and all that, why is it that I totally envisioned a scenario where Davin and Amathi were playing text-based chess?
Essentially, that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
Do that with normal chess, so why can't you do it with 3D chess?
Because it happened.
Yeah, because
I've had verbal games of chess with people.
No, no. Oh, Lordy. Well, as everybody is getting settled in, Lieutenant Sulak gets his rations.
Yeah. Sulak is going to walk up to the number 3 replicator, take a peek around, crouch down, pop loose a panel, and produce a small bottle of blue liquid before popping the panel back on and heading over to join everyone else.
I'm sure Commander Jax has nothing to say about that.
It's only illegal to bring it to diplomatic events. However, I think I will actually just have myself a nice earth drink. I think they call it an Arnold Palmer. Whoever, I'm not sure what that means, but
Oh, you're talking it's half alcohol or half lemonade and half iced tea.
yes, that's the one. And I'll
Be
go
careful
over.
you don't get it half lemonade, half Long Island iced tea. That's something completely else.
I don't want. I've had that drink. It was not good.
I'm impressed, Commander. Impressed.
I've been around a lot of humans over the centuries. Um,
I would imagine so.
I mean, okay. The whole point is to get to know each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I once married a human ship captain. Well, not me exactly. Hebron Jax.
That's cool.
Was it
Oh.
like her own ship, or was she with the fleet? Or
She was with the fleet,
hmm
but this was a while back. We were actually on the same ship. Things were a little looser then, though. There were rules, but it's hard to keep those rules out on the frontier. And, Warp 5 was about the highest most people could reach. So you were pretty far out.
Oofta. That would have taken forever.
Well, I helped design the ship, so having me on board as the engineer was a good idea.
That's cool.
One of the early NX.
Video must be so nifty. Like all of those collected memories and experiences and everything else. That is like amazing. It's like a treasure trove. You could just dig through it and find a bunch of stuff. I bet you know how to do a lot of different things, don't you, Commander?
Amafi, it's your move.
Oh, right. Oh, hey,
It's been your
Commander.
move.
Commander, guess what? I've practiced my earth poetry. Filaments intertwined. 2 creatures engage in a permanent handshake. And then he makes a move on the board.
Well, I seem to remember a saying about beware poets who read their poetry in public because they may have other bad habits.
Dang. So, real quick, Dr. K4, you've been sitting over in your corner, drinking your orange juice, and you've absolutely watched all of this happen. And yeah, it seems like no one has paid you any mind.
We are perfectly content with that state of affairs. Thank you. I am absolutely aware that the ship's company gives me quite a wide berth. And nobody actually said I had to socialize, just that I had to be outside of my quarters.
Fair. Way to extort those loopholes.
Technically correct is the best kind.
And at this point, with that Bardic's Charm rolls a 3 in chat, the first shift ship's counselor comes in. The ship's counselor has one of those like larger data pads, like that they would use for space dock inspections and things like that. And she just kind of like slowly floats around the room in between people, just looking at stuff, typing on her little data pad as she eyeballs everyone. Doesn't say a word, just walks around making notes on everybody.
I will bet anyone in here a strip of Gold Plus Latinum that she does that just to make people nervous.
Zek suddenly rises up from behind a bar. I'll take that action.
I wondered when you would arrive.
Been here the whole time.
Sure.
We're gonna be good friends, you and I, Commander Jax. You don't know it yet.
I am fairly confident we are not.
We just have to find that common ground, that's all.
We're both carbon-based life forms.
See? Already something in common.
We have bilateral symmetry.
Look at you. Just checking my boxes.
You said something about gold press latinum there, Commander Jax.
Yeah. If he can prove that she isn't doing that just to make people nervous.
No, I'm saying that's a point of commonality.
Yes. It was a good point.
Tell me, Commander, do you enjoy cards?
No.
Do you enjoy any games of chance?
None that involve gambling or competition.
Yes, the only thing that he enjoys is flying, which is all of those things. Not that he'll sell you that. But...
It's all of those things.
I never gamble when I'm flying. I know exactly what I'm doing most of the time.
Zek takes this moment to head over and begin asking Dr. Daxton some questions, and they're kind of talking quietly while he tries to figure out if she's actually doing this for real or making people nervous. And while he is doing that, I'm going to use Crocheting Guinea Pig's roll of 10 to see which it is. Zek has this look. You know that look that Quark always got when he lost a bet? That's what Zek looks like right now. And he just walks past Commander Jax, slaps a piece of gold press latinum on the table, and continues walking out of 10 aft.
You're right, Commander Devon. This was fun.
You see what happens when you get to know your fellow crewmates.
Yeah. I've been busy.
Mm-hmm. Socializing is just as important as studying, I have found in my past ship assignments.
Yeah. I haven't been on a ship in a while, so I'm make sure all of the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
I have no doubt. And she's just making like chess moves, like Amathi's making moves, she's making moves, that sort of thing. And she's just like talking the entire time as she's doing that. Almost data style, but not quite as mechanical. So what did get you on the ship finally, Commander?
Admiral Janeway.
Do it. You don't say no to that woman.
She presented me with a couple of interesting points. And I knew the captain from back when we worked on the project Pathfinder. And trusted her judgment. So I figured. And this was also not a war mission. This is a mission of peace delegations and exploration. The reason I signed up for the Federation in the first place. I've had my fill of war missions. Thank you, just the same.
It's fair. It's fair. So what do you think about this peace that we've had with the Dominion?
Well, they didn't have a lot of choice. I mean, the Federation always manages to outthink their enemies, which is good. Their enemies tend to be more ruthless. They, after Romulus went away, we discovered a lot of the things that the Romulan Empire would do.
Went away?
I was being polite. The Klingons, I respect them, but they're a no-quarter enemy. So when we fought them, there was a lot of ruthless warfare there. And the Borg, I can attest to personally having seen their ruthlessness. Our enemies tend to be more ruthless than us, and we tend to outthink them and out diplomacy them, and it tends to work out in our favor. So I'm a big fan of outthinking a problem.
At this point, K4 is going to speak up from her corner. In my own experience, the Federation does not lack for ruthlessness, Commander.
No, I suppose not. Any body in war is going to be ruthless. But did you know that the Romulans, to get rid of a potential rival in the Beta Quadrant, created a bioweapon to wipe them out? We at least gave the cure to the changelings. Klingons would routinely raid planets and wipe them completely out if they didn't respond to their imperialistic commands. And the Borg are the very definition of merciless. They literally lack it. So, yeah, we have on occasion been ruthless, but we have our limits, a lot more than a lot of the enemies we fought.
I imagine that such thinking is required in order to believe that you are on the correct side.
Maybe. But then again, in this particular case, I can point to empirical evidence, not just my feelings.
While conveniently ignoring or downplaying the empirical evidence of the Federation's ruthlessness?
I didn't say they weren't capable of ruthlessness. They have limits. They have things they won't do. We're the only group in the Alpha and Beta Quadrant that has a prime directive, because all of the other major empires consider other planets potential subjects. We have limits. We have rules. Yeah, sure, they get pushed too far, and yeah, there were definitely some problems with some of the decisions that were made during the Dominion War, but we have rules that keep us from going too far most of the time. The others never even consider the rules a thing they need to worry about. With the Borg, there's nothing that is below the Borg's ethical rules because they don't have any. And the Klingons, the only times they don't use force is if somebody isn't just worth the time. And Romulans always analyze it from is this useful to us?
Oh, we have one here. Is that true, Lieutenant?
It's no secret that my people are xenophobic, hostile, and generally, what was it that Professor O'Brien called us? Disagreeable. But at least we do not possess the same apathy as the Federation. We may be ruthless, yes, but we are ruthless with a purpose. The Federation picks and chooses where it is passionate, where it is ruthless, and when it is best to simply ignore a problem because it's an enemy. Shall I take you to Vashti and see how the Federation has treated my people?
A fair point, though. Wasn't the relief effort led by a Federation officer, Federation hero?
Yes, it was. And then it stopped.
And if the situation was reversed, would the Romulans have done anything at all? Also, I will point out, you are now a member of the Federation.
It doesn't make him any less Romulan.
Sure.
Commander.
And I hope many more of my people will join me in the Federation.
I hope so too.
Because I try so very hard not to see the lines as clearly defined as you do.
Well, I have some history there.
While I would never diminish your experience, Commander, to keep in mind that I am not the one that leveled those wounds.
And I don't hold you responsible. I was speaking broadly of the Romulan Empire, not the Romulan people as a race. There is a difference, and I know that difference.
I'm glad, because there were many that were great for conferences at the end of the Dominion War. There were many that saw the opportunity presented. and many have seen that opportunity squandered. I hope to show them a better way.
I do as
By
well.
the way, even though Amafi himself does not pick up on social cues or anything like that all that well, he's probably noticed the tension at this point in time of the way how people are looking at each other. So the kitten has lowered himself very slowly in his seat to where basically all that is visible is his eyes and his ear and his tail, as he's just kind of watching the entirety of the conversation, just wondering what's going to happen next. And he's like, Commander Davin, it's your move.
Thank you, Amathi. So while we're on this topic, actually, Amathi, you spoke of the Hobus incident a few days ago. Do you remember what that entailed?
Those sheep.
Absolutely. We could go over the math, the implications. We could go over the social aspects of it. We could go over the cultural aspects of it. It was a major event, both scientifically and also just, it was, he just kind of thinks about it for a moment, like he's about ready to roll off into a train of stream of conscious of thought. And then he's like, but you know what? He was talking, Lieutenant Kirk was talking about Vashti. That was part of the refugee effort that Admiral Picard was trying to work on for getting people relocated and all that kind of stuff, right?
It was the hub for the resettlement project. Yes, it's actually where I first met the captain.
Oh. I wonder, Amafi just kind of looks kind of curiously, if there's a viewport that he can actually kind of look out as, we're cruising by the stars or whatever the situation may be. He kind of looks out and he says, I bet that was very difficult to be there. I've never been in anything like that before. I grew up on Kate Prime. Nothing bad happens there. I mean, a lot of my cousins and my uncles and my nieces and all that other kind of stuff are not my nieces. I don't have any nieces, but a lot of my family, they're a bunch of, well, I have a very big warrior culture at my home. So everybody's very, mean and stuff like that. But my mom, she's a mathematician like me. She she works on warp field calculations and stuff like that. And my dad's an engineer like Commander Davin. He built warp drives for our planet and stuff like that, for our own personal ships and whatnot. But I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before or experienced it. It seems like that'd be a lot.
Lieutenant Sulak, could I speak with you for a moment?
Certainly. And he grabs his bottle, stands up from the corner, and walks over to the corner with the doctor, where he sits down and begins drinking very deeply from his bottle.
I just wanted to get him away from that conversation because K4 knows what Davin is going to try to broach, and it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yes, that's very true, Amathi. Now, I think we're aware that the incident caused certain planets not to exist anymore.
Let's see, how many actual total planets were destroyed by the Hobos incident? He actually starts kind of counting on his digits a little bit.
Amathi, which planet matters most to a crew member, a member of this crew?
Well, I would hope that all of them, actually. I mean, why wouldn't it matter to anybody that the planet was destroyed? It was somebody's home. I mean, I would want I would want everybody to care that if Kate Prime got destroyed, I'd want everybody to care if like Earth got destroyed. That would just be mean if you didn't care.
Amathi. And she'll like just like pause for a moment. If Kate Prime was destroyed, how much would you want people to talk about it?
He kind of thinks about it for a moment. I don't know. I don't know what that would be like. That would be hard. Very difficult. I would imagine. I've never really experienced anything like that before. Kind of thinks for a little bit more, and he says, but you know what? I won't want anybody to forget about my planet. Home is important, but if you lose it, that'd be sad. I mean, I know lots of people that have lost their home. There's people that have lost their home to the Borg. There's people who lost their home to, like, different natural disasters that have gone on out in space. We live in a really dangerous universe when you think about it. But it's important to remember.
Oh, yeah. I remember Deneva every day, but it hurts to think about it or hear about it sometimes. And I'm sure Commander Lieutenant Sulak feels the same way whenever he hears Obus or Romulus.
Oh. He kind of thinks, like, Amafi, like, makes a move on the chessboard, and he just says, I bet. Oh, yeah, I bet. Well, that's sad. Should I go give him a hug?
Yes.
Yes, you should give him a hug.
Okay, Commander. And he will immediately get up and go over to the Romulan and the Vulcan.
And Jax goes back to pulling up his data pad.
Oh. Is Amathi being quiet in his approach at all?
Well, I mean, he's a cat, so
You're absolutely right. So I likely would have, if I wasn't paying direct attention to the approach, I likely would never have seen it.
Pretty much.
This is a choice. This is a choice.
Amafi is going to directly come up to him, and like at some point in time, he's probably drinking, and then all of a sudden, Amafi is there, like right next to him, like hovering over him. He's not going to touch him yet, because basically he is going to be like hovering over Lieutenant Kirk, and he's going to be like, Lieutenant Kirk, sir, permission to give you a hug, please.
Kirk is going to pull the bottle from his lips and just look up at Amathi like he has lost his mind. Lieutenant Junior Grade, I understand we're here for recreation, but perhaps you misunderstood the assignment.
Oh, no, this isn't for entertainment, sir. I think I made you sad, and I was told that a hug would make it better.
By whom?
Oh, it's the insinuation that was brought forth by Commander David.
Consider the source. And he's going to turn back to drinking.
Commander Jax, as you're typing on your data pad, out of the corner of your eye, you see Dr. Daxton, kind of standing next to your table, begin typing furiously on the data pad, watching all of this happen. And she simply goes,
Doctor?
Commander. And she continues on her way.
So what are you reading about today? Commander?
Some of your engineering reports.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't make them.
Well, that's fine. I'm just making sure we won't have any issues when we're doing the maneuvering around the subspace stairs. So I was just checking to see what the systems reports were. Everything looks good.
That's what my reports have told me. Do you think there's any special calculations or anything, or calibrations that need to be made?
I'm a strong believer in double check the craft that you're flying before you do the crazy to make sure that the systems won't fail at the very least. You do a good job. Wasn't a comment on your quality of work, just something I always do.
I'm aware. I remember the time you came into the starbase with those flyers.
Yeah. Well, fighter pilots tend to be a bit reckless at times, and that can get you killed. So always double check.
Gotta know your ship and your crew. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And can speak to that from, sadly, too much experience on that front too. So, how about you, Commander Devon? Why did you accept this posting? You surely have had offers before.
Let's just say there's a goal I had in mind, and the unfortunate incident at Mars a few years ago kind of put the kibosh on that one. And they're still rebuilding, so.
Right.
Here I am, out in space again, wandering the stars.
Yep. So, why did you want me here?
Because I haven't seen you in a while. And once you actually get going, you're actually pleasant to talk to. And you need to know the crew as much as you need to know the machines and how they work.
I know.
And I think that's what Admiral Janeway was trying to hammer home.
No, she wanted to hammer home that if I didn't take the job, I would never be offered another.
When she ordered the Vesta out of its mothballs, she was a very interesting person to have around. We agreed on coffee. Not that we ever really interacted too much, but she would sometimes stroll through the bits that I was working on as an ensign. And you overhear things, but always a woman who knows what she wanted.
Yeah. And I joined Starfleet to be an explorer. Go places no one had gone, fly ships that no one has flown before, do amazing things and make discoveries. That's why I joined. I got a little gun shy after my first command. The first ship that I served on half the crew died fighting Borg. And then I got immediately transferred into the Dominion War, commanding a wing of fighters. And, well, you know how well that went.
I've read.
Yeah. So, I didn't want to do this anymore. Be on a ship and be in the position of having to command people who might die. I didn't want to be fighting a war. I'm not really a soldier. And this was not a war.
Yeah. Now, Gamma Quadrant's a dangerous place. I've spent the last 6 years prior to this out here.
Yeah. There's a lot of Gamma Quadrant we don't know anything about. And
Exactly.
This seems like it'll be a good mission. And it's not like there isn't danger. There'll be danger. I'm not holding any illusions, but I'm just glad to not be in yet another war again. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm constantly checking all of the reports and making sure that all the systems work and all the performance reports, and I don't miss something that when something gets tense might cost somebody their life.
Just don't be afraid to get to know people just because you might lose them.
Yeah, I know. It's just a little hard.
Yeah, no, I get that. And at that moment, she'll like cock her head halfway back and go, Lieutenant Sulak, if you drink that entire bottle without giving me a glass, we will have work.
I'm over here, Commander. Do you want me to get you a glass from him? He won't give me a hug, by the way.
You can you can advise that both the doc and Lieutenant and yourself can come back over here. We won't bite hard.
Kirk will stand up from the table in the corner, walk over, grab a couple glasses. There is still a sizable amount left in the bottle. Join everybody back at the main table and begin doling out small portions.
K4 will also stand cautiously as hell and kind of hover near the outskirts of said table.
Yeah.
But she will take one of the offered glasses of the blue stuff.
Yeah. Amafi wasn't going to move until they started moving in that direction. So the moment that they're actually heading in the direction, he'll just bound over and take his seat on the other side of where Commander Davin's at. And he's like, is it my move again?
As Kirk is distributing the glasses, he'll very plainly, matter-of-factly, I will remind you, Kehiro is a bit more potent than some of the spirits you may be used to. I recommend small sips.
And when you offer glass to, again, like, no thanks. I've been there. I've done that.
Fair enough. And he'll set the glass in front of himself.
People are going to completely disregard the properly given warning and just kind of knock it back. Completely dead-faced.
Impressive.
Davin will sip as recommended.
That is a taste.
Do X-Borg even get drunk? Is that a thing?
Even if they don't typically, K4 might tonight. She is a couple of pints low.
Interesting.
You're muted there, Jeremiah.
Trill have to be careful about what they eat or drink, actually.
That makes a surprising amount of sense since you have something inside of you.
We don't have them often, but allergic reactions can actually kill us. So,
Ooh,
yeah,
yikes.
mainly eat or drink things that I No, will react well. And while I've had my fair share of Romulan ale over the years and a couple of lifetimes, I just don't feel like getting drunk.
Yeah, that's fine. We're still getting to know each other. It's hard to feel secure enough in oneself around people you don't know.
That is stronger than most things that are consumed.
Certainly hits.
May I have more?
Kirk will actually chuckle at this, and he'll tip another glass for Kate, for the doctor. Purely in the interest of science, of course.
In the interests of science.
I will. So,
Wait,
I've
does
been-
he actually say that out loud? Purely in the interest of science?
Yes.
Amafi, who's like in the middle of calculating his next move, looks and says, "Science. What are we testing? What's the theory? Scientific method. Hello. What?"
Lieutenant Sulak, be very careful with how much you give Lieutenant Amathi.
What?
I've only given him a tiny amount.
Oh,
barely enough to induce any kind of intoxication.
What?
Unless he drinks it all at once.
Amathi with his cat-like reflexes.
Doctor, I believe they call the substance to counteract that triox. You might want to make sure you have some ready in case Amathi has an issue.
This intoxicant has an antidote.
It's a general counteraction to intoxication. I had to have a shot of it on a couple of occasions.
Noted. Those must have been very interesting occasions, Commander.
Well, yeah. I've been around. One of my prior lives was a mercenary. Raider Jacks. Hard crews running around, but when you needed to have your senses clear, ship's doctor, give everybody triox before we went into battle because we were all hungover.
As one would be, I would expect. Something like out of one of those space novels or something.
K4 just kind of stares off into space for a minute.
We were hanging out on the edge of Klingon space at the time.
Did you ever drink with Klingons?
Radar did. Radar had drank with Klingons. We had Klingon on the crew. Some Klingons on the crew. Blood wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Currently, I don't. I don't like it, but Radar did.
Amafi has gone butter, and by butter, he's basically kind of melted into his seat at this point in time, just kind of like scooched out a little bit, and just kind of like puddles in his seat, and he just kind of bats at the air a little bit.
There are sufficient stocks of triox on board should we require.
I think he might eventually, but let him enjoy his buzz for now.
Oh, he'll be fine. Especially after a bit of triox and a good sleep, he'll feel right as rain come morning.
Yes, let's just make sure he gets back to his quarters and not in one of my Jeffrey's tubes this time.
Well,
Did you know that there's poetry in the ruling passions, Lieutenant Kirk?
I did.
You want to know what's my favorite entry for that?
What's that?
He kind of looks, he says, it's actually a really good one. I think you'll appreciate this one. He basically will, he's got this concentration of on his face, like he's trying to remember what exactly it is that he's going to say for a moment or two. And then he finally goes, right. The chief part of the ruling passion, only this can truly be said. Hate has no reason for everything, but love is unreasonable.
Very well recited, Amafi. I am glad to see that there are some things that interest those not of my people.
I absolutely love poetry. Poetry is great. Poetry exists everywhere. Poetry is math. Math is poetry. It is absolutely fantastic. He starts to undo the top collar of his uniform at that point in time a little bit. He said, "Oh, go ahead."
You would have liked Alien Jax. They were a musician and a mathematician.
I love poetry and I love singing. He kind of stands up on the chair that he's sitting, no longer melted, but now kind of perched on it a little bit, like you would typically see a cat doing or something like that. Front paws forward, kind of sitting on his haunches a little bit. And he's just like, my mother was a great singer. She would caterwaul. I think that's the word that you that Terrence used all the time. You could hear it all the way across the house, and she'd do it anytime that she was doing her work field calculations. She would actually weave it into the way how that she would actually do them. That's actually how I learned math, is through poetry and through my mom singing.
I believe.
So I was first for you.
I believe Commander Davin has been known to caterwaul when drinking on occasion. I seem to recall.
Do you sing too, Commander Davin? When?
Oh, I'm sure some might call it singing.
At this point, Davin will actually look over at Dr. Daxton, who's still watching them, and goes, Doctor, would you like to join us, or are you just going to stand there scribbling?
Excellent maneuvered, Commander. I commend your piloting skills there.
She simply responds, mm-hmm, and keeps typing on her pad.
Well, you should know, Commander, I took flying lessons from you. It's why I'm decent. It's half the reason I'm decent behind the con. The other half is my brother.
Duly noted. I will let you fly next time.
Sure. You can act in.
That's not true. I won't let you fly next time.
I figured as much. Unless Zach is around.
Zach.
The executive officer left in a hurry.
Yeah, he doesn't like losing bets.
No Ferengi likes losing a bet.
Yeah.
No Ferengi likes losing money.
That's fair.
Well, they'll usually bet money on a bet, so
They don't they tend not to respect bets that don't have some sort of monetary value behind them.
If you want him to feel some sort of way about money, you always bet with money around him.
Sure. Although I met a couple of during the war.
Well, I don't know what the heck that was.
Is everybody all right?
Yeah.
Who's talking? Weird.
Very weird.
I don't know what that was. That was crazy. Sounded like Mike has gone crazy or something.
Yeah, it sounds like something that's going on Jeremiah's end.
My mic was muted.
Nick.
Yeah, Nick, it's you.
Boo, no.
That's okay. She can just yell really loud or just talk at off level.
She just like comes in on Amathi's camera. It's like,
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You should have a technical difficulty screen.
Right. Some elevator music going.
I mean,
we're just going to continue drinking this taste.
Amathi is just going to let this ride. He's an inexperienced drinker. Even when he was in Okinawa at the Daystrom Institute, he probably didn't drink all that often. He was just, doing college work and all that other kind of crap. And he didn't get invited out to too many parties. Mafi was, the weird kitten that came from Kate Prime. So, yeah, he's completely inexperienced with this. I'm sure he's going to die.
No, the chief medical officer is present for his alcohol poisoning. He'll be fine.
Actually, reminds me of a story from our academy days. The commander had helped me commandeer a disused broom closet, and we may have experimented a bit in at-home distillation.
So I was wondering when the two of you met, all the way back in the academy, huh?
What was it? 2-3 weeks in? Something like that. But we...
No squeal.
Also no sound.
Might have to change the microphone in the settings.
I'm just actually hoping that the actual microphone hasn't failed or anything like that.
I'm out of here. Bye.
Nah. The classic tech support solution of turn it off and then back on again. So you knew each other from the academy. All right. And you were already breaking the rules.
Sometimes it's the little things.
And you can tell from the grin on his face, he's not actually giving you a hard time about this as much as a sort of a joking sort of thing.
Hey, Dr. K4, this would make a great anesthetic. No, not anesthetic. Sorry, antiseptic. Wow.
It would actually make a terrific both of those things. It's been used in such a fashion in the past.
It's got a
Really?
strong alcohol content, but I think the varietals in it might be less than desirable.
Wait,
Well,
there's varietals in this? What's that actually? Wait, I should know this. Why can't I think?
there are several herbs and herbaceous plants that were native to Romulus that we would use to flavor. Every region had its own particular blend. This is actually one of the last few batches bottled in my home province.
Amafi rolls out of his chair and then rolls over to you, Lieutenant Couric. And he's like, you know what? I've been growing and cultivating Ractigino beans for Commander Davin ever since we started our correspondence between us at the Daystrom Institute. Do you have any of the hops or plants or whatever it is that goes in this? I could try to recreate it and grow some in the botany lab. It's not against rules.
I actually do have a small store of what would be necessary. I've been looking for the opportunity to propagate this particular strain of Ke. It's been difficult, but I think with your help, we might be able to work something out.
Yes, Amathi is very gifted in his herbology.
Amafi looks like absolutely ecstatic and happy, and he's just like, we're gonna be the bestest of friends. We're gonna be plant buddies.
We are going to be plant buddies.
Yeah, you might want to hit up one of the botanists on board, see if they can help out and provide you with some space.
Uh-huh. I actually was already talking to one because I'm going to have to start growing the Ractigino bushes. I'm going to fall over now. And then Amafi falls over.
Yes. And I should not be allowed in the hydroponics lab that he takes up residence in. My sister tells me that I have a thumb blacker than, well, my soul. I keep telling her I don't have a soul, but I mean...
They say that human gingers don't have souls. Where do they go?
I'm pretty sure that most humans have stopped believing in souls in general, so whatever.
You might be surprised. There's still some fairly religious ones out there. There's stuff all over the galaxy, so, if we're not believing in our own stuff, sometimes it's other people's stuff. We're a mixed bag. I am just
super confused about souls, and then looks down at their feet.
The most religious people I've met in the Federation were the Bajorans. Once they were sort of invited during the Dominion War to sort of join, they're very religious.
But noticed that when on my last ship we'd come through DS9 for resupply occasionally, and
DS9's not a bad place. We had to spend some time there with the fighter wing when we were prepping. Good people working out of there, and I really actually enjoyed spending time with the Bajorans. They're an interesting people, very resilient. They went through a lot.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Managed to hold on to who they were.
They certainly did. It's a testament to the strength of their species.
But yeah.
I'll be happy if no one ever asks me about my paw again.
I got into a discussion with someone about my paw because where I'm a joined entity, and what that meant to my pa. I mean, I'm not really a believer exactly, but I try to be polite to them.
K4, while she's on the floor checking Amathi's vitals, is again visibly confused. She was unaware that Trill or Terrans had paused.
I mean,
Kirk is going to grab his data pad, pull up the cultural database entry on the Bajoran concept of a pa, and hand the data pad to Dr. K for her. Lieutenant junior grade will be fine. He just needs the night to sleep it off. I'll make sure he gets to his quarters safely. For now, he's not harming anybody there.
We need to keep the floors pretty clean, so.
I've definitely seen people handle getting drunk worse.
You would hear Amafi start to cry as he says, "I hurt Lieutenant Kirk's feel pads."
And on that note, we are going to end tonight's amazing episode. Thank you all for tuning into chat and giving us some rolls and just chatting along. We really appreciate having you for this chaos. Thank you to the crew. You all were amazing tonight. This is so good, and I cannot wait to present the captain with all of the crazy violations that Dr. Draxton seems to have found. That'll be fun to have the captain try to address all of this.
In fairness, was socializing.
I will make sure that goes in the report.
I was requested to socialize.
Again.
I was requested to socialize, and I wanted to make sure that that request did not come in often.
There it is.
Socializing.
Well, thank you all very much. We'll see you not next Friday, but the Friday after that for Star Trek Kvasir. Bye, everybody.